Hi everyone, I am Jack Red, and I wanted to do something that the Nostalgia Critic kind of did for movies for games, and I had just the thing for it. I'm going to do old versus new Resident Evil. I'm going to do the original game compared to the remake. There is one I gotta say for this. There is 5 categories, and I had to change one to make it a more of a survival horror thing. So as I'm looking through my list here, I already know exactly how this is going to go, so let's go through the first round, which is main characters. Mainly I'm looking at Chris and Jill, because you play as them. I mean, it is true in Chris's scenario at one point or so that you do play as Rebecca Chambers, but she's more a supporting character anyway, so. Even though they do a lot of shit in both games, I had to give it to the original because it was kind of scary, like how the game opens, how it ends, like, you know, in the cutscenes involving the characters, it just blows you out of your mind. That, in your opinion, you'd be more scared to play as them in the original than you would be in the remake, even though some people will like to question this. I mean, because if you think about it, the original, you know, you didn't expect it at first to be a good game, and once you got into it, you're like, wow, it's one of my favorite games of all time. Oh, man. You know, in the remake, not a lot of people like that, so. Without question, for the first round, for main characters, the original game wins. Now, here's where supporting cast comes in, round 2. And, surprisingly enough, to my knowledge, that, the supporting cast would actually go in favor of the remake. Just because they actually do a little more than just being seen around, and for Rebecca's case, you do play as her to save Chris's life. But with that being said, they just do a lot more in the remake. For instance, there's a part in the remake where if you're playing as Chris, you can actually get help find Lisa Trevor with Wesker. Now that's cool, and I like how they alternate the scene with Jill and Barry with Wesker, where out of nowhere he just comes back in the room and he starts shooting the hell out of Wesker, and then he goes for the button. He's like, no, shit, man, it is like fucked up. It is really fucked up. Now, one thing I didn't mention in the first round, which will also apply here, is that there was bad voice acting. I mean, it was understandable why the original was bad voice acting, but why can't you improve it for the remake? Are you trying to make it feel that much like the original, even though it feels like a completely different game? Just because like 70% of the game is different? It just pisses me off that they purposely made it bad voice acting. I know I could say the same for Sonic Adventure 2, but at least that turned out good, goddammit. This could have been better. It just could have been better. So without a doubt, the remake wins in that category of supporting cast just because they actually do something rather than just stand there and Rebecca stays plastic. Round 3. This one is villains in the game. There was a variety. I mean, sure, there is a little more of them in the remake. As Crimson Heads, you do go against the Crimson Head Owler, you go against the giant Neptune, at least a Trevor, but when it comes down to which one did the better with the monsters, I would have to say personally that I like the original monsters better, especially Jan. I thought he was more scarier in the original version than in the remake. In the remake, you know, he just tolerates, he's being defensive like a snake, but in the other one, he wasn't afraid to just come straight at you. You know, he would just be like, come here, son of a bitch. You know, it's just like that. I mean, and the Tyrant. A lot of people say the Tyrant in the original was harder than that in the remake. Now, I'll be completely honest with you, I was this close of being director's cut of the original game. And I have not fought the Tyrant the first time. I did fight most of the bosses though. And can you believe, for the first Jan boss fight, it was for both characters, and you had to fight him twice, even though the original you had to fight him twice as probably Chris, and then you gotta fight him once with Jill. You can actually skip that whole boss fight, just grab the deathmatch and get the fuck out. Yep, it is true. You can't do that in the original version. You have to fight him before you can grab it, and that's true. I mean, with the puzzles, you know, they changed some where you just didn't like it. You know, it just pisses you off. Like one thing they changed is they actually had the yellow and let's see, yellow and red gem, I think. Yeah, it's either that or blue, and they changed it for the other one. You know, it's fucked up. In the original, it was red and blue, and there were 2 different places. But for some reason, there's like another gem in the game. I don't know why. But with that being said, I also have to bring up Wesker. I mean, in a sense, he goes to supporting cast, but he was more of a villain than anything. So Wesker did pretty good in both games. It is true he does help out Chris in the game, in the remake to be exact. But I just thought his role was more famous in the original. I mean, it is true that you do get to see a better close-up of him getting clawed in the remake. But I like the original version of that better. I mean, if I were to, if somebody else to show you that footage, you would see why I like it a little more. It just looks more appealing, in my opinion. I mean, he was good in both games, but I thought his voice was better in the original, and I thought his performance was better in the original. With that being said, I'm going to give this one to the original. Now, for round 4. Now, originally, this was supposed to be an action sequence, but nah. For this special occasion, I'm going to actually replace it, since this is my video, a survival horror theme, which will be, of course, Fear Factor. Which one is the scarier game? Well, this was a tough one, because I thought the cutscenes alone in the original game were scarier, but with that being said, there was also some points where zombies will enter doors and you didn't expect them to. There's like this one time when hunters come through the doors. It was scary. I mean, and letting that dog in the mansion, like, he almost got in. But if you did that in the remake, open that front door, guess what? You had to kill that dog. It's bullshit. It is really ass right there. I mean, there were some really scary things about the remake, such as, like, some of the cutscenes that weren't as scary in the original are scary in this one. But the ones that were scary in the original aren't really that scary in this one. Like, for instance, Joseph got eaten. That looked scarier in the original than in the remake, without question. But the one thing why the remake is scarier is because they actually put this feature in the Hellbreak series. Enemies can break through doors, and if you don't hurry your ass up, they will break through the doors. It doesn't matter if they're zombies, hunters, or Crimson Heads. They will break through the door, they'll hunt your ass down, and it's a scary, scary thing. And not only that, you gotta worry about old keys, limited ammo. I mean, in the original, it was easier to find ammo, but in this game, it is a pain in the fucking ass to find ammo. And yes, I'm not kidding. With that being said, I have to give it to the remake. Now, the overall, this is gonna be a tough one. Definitely one for the record books. Which one is superior? Well, this one is really not an easy one to talk about. I mean, sure. And in one version of the original game, you get basically battle mode, which I never played because I never had a Sega Saturn, thanks to the declining polarity of the console, plus its price in America. So, and in the remake, you basically got, like, once again mode, which you can play through the game again. You can get the costumes, which I thought was nice. The hidden weapons kind of disappoint me. You don't even get the M4 rocket launcher like you do in the original with infinite ammo. Pain in the ass, man. And the Samurai Edge could have been better. It's just, what the hell? And the endings were better in the original game. I mean, there were just things I like more in the original that I'm actually going to call the original superior. But before I even go to that conclusion, I have to bring this up. Originally, for the original game, it was supposed to be first person, and it was originally supposed to have this feature called Real Survivor Mode, which was brought into the remake, and it was bad. Whenever you put it in one item box, you got to come back to this one item box because they're no longer transparent. And with that being said, invisible enemy mode was a pain in the ass too. You can't even, like, you gotta use your ears, or if there's like a mirror or water on the ground, then you can see where your enemies are. Otherwise, you're fucked. It is. So with that being said, I have to say I like the original more because it was more classic. It just has more of a way for me to play it. It was just more of a game, in my opinion. It was a game that I could come back and play. The remake is it's a torture, man. It is about as tough as Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And that game is short compared to the remake. I'm not kidding you, both are really, really tough games. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this little comparison. I am Jack Red, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all